What happens when a senator's 23-year-old daughter leaves a New Year's Eve party drunk at 2:30 in the morning, crashes into a 68-year-old Vietnam veteran's car, and then tells responding officers, "It's New Year's, everyone drinks, my dad will handle this"? This young woman is about to learn that some celebrations don't excuse drunk driving, some last names don't grant immunity, and some senators choose honoring veterans over protecting daughters who endanger them. But what makes this case absolutely devastating isn't just the drunk driving on New Year's Eve, it's who she hit, what she said while he lay injured, and what her father, the senator, said when Judge Caprio put him on speakerphone in front of the entire courtroom just days into the new year. Let us know where you're watching from, because what happens next will show you that political power doesn't purchase exemption from accountability, not even when you're celebrating the new year. It's January 3rd in Providence Municipal Court. Madison Hartley, age 23, daughter of United States Senator Richard Hartley, faces charges of DUI causing serious bodily injury, reckless driving, leaving the scene, and threatening officers. 3 days ago, on New Year's Eve at 2:47 a.m., Madison left an exclusive party at a Providence hotel after drinking champagne from 10 p.m. until 2:30 a.m. Witnesses saw her stumbling to her BMW, dropping her keys, laughing about being too drunk. Traffic cameras show Madison's BMW weaving between lanes at 50 miles per hour in a 30 zone. At Hope Street and Rochambeau Avenue, she ran a red light and T-boned a Toyota Camry. The Camry spun and struck a pole. Inside was 68-year-old Robert Sullivan, a Vietnam veteran driving home after volunteering at a veterans shelter, a tradition he's kept for 15 years since his wife died. Robert suffered 3 broken ribs, a fractured collarbone, severe whiplash, and a concussion. He was trapped for 8 minutes. Police arrived at 2:51 a.m. Officer Michael Chen found Madison standing outside her BMW, still holding a champagne bottle, wearing an evening gown, severely intoxicated. When asked if she was injured, Madison's response was captured on body camera. "I'm fine. It's New Year's Eve. Everyone drinks on New Year's. This isn't a big deal. Is my car okay?" Officer Chen detected overwhelming alcohol smell, slurred speech, unsteady gait. "Madison, you were in a serious accident. Someone else was injured." Madison laughed and took another drink. "It's New Year's. Live a little, officer. My dad always says New Year's Eve doesn't count. Everyone gets a pass." Behind them, paramedics extracted Robert Sullivan from his crushed vehicle. His cries of pain were audible. Madison never asked about him. When Officer Chen attempted field sobriety tests, Madison refused and threatened. "Do you know who my father is? He's Senator Richard Hartley. He's on the Senate Judiciary Committee. He literally oversees your funding. Let me go before you make a huge mistake." When Chen tried to take the champagne bottle, Madison became aggressive. "Don't touch me. My father will have your badge. I'm calling him right now." Sergeant Jennifer Walsh arrived. "Madison, you're being detained for DUI. We need testing." Madison refused. "I'm not doing any tests. It's New Year's Eve. Everyone drinks. My father is going to hear about this harassment." When Walsh tried to guide her to the patrol car, Madison physically resisted. "Get your hands off me. I'm Senator Hartley's daughter. You can't arrest me. It's New Year's Eve." 3 officers restrained her. She threatened them repeatedly, insisted New Year's meant rules didn't apply, demanded to go to her next party, never once asked about Robert. During transport, her tirade continued. "You have no idea what you've done. My father funds your department. You'll all be directing traffic by next week." At the station, Madison initially refused breathalyzer testing. After her attorney was contacted, she submitted at 4:17 a.m. Her BAC was 0.18. Given elapsed time, investigators estimated 0.21 at impact, nearly 3 times the legal limit. Toxicology showed cocaine. Now Madison walks into Judge Caprio's courtroom wearing expensive clothing, looking like this is an annoying interruption. Her attorney, Christopher Dane, is from a politically connected firm. Judge Caprio watches her entrance. She doesn't walk like someone who nearly killed a veteran. The bailiff calls the case. Judge Caprio reviews charges. Dane stands immediately. "Your Honor, this incident occurred on New Year's Eve when many people make regrettable decisions. My client has no prior record and comes from a distinguished family. Given the holiday circumstances, we request the court consider New Year's context." Judge Caprio's response is firm. Mr. Dane, I don't care if this was New Year's Eve, Christmas, or any other day. Your client drove drunk, crashed into a Vietnam veteran's car, seriously injured him, and showed zero remorse. The calendar doesn't grant immunity. If you're not subscribed, hit that button, because what happens next will show you what happens when someone thinks New Year's celebrations excuse endangering veterans. Judge Caprio asks Madison, Ms. Hartley, do you understand these charges? Madison's tone is dismissive. Yes, Your Honor, but everyone is overreacting. It was New Year's Eve. People drink on New Year's. I made a mistake, but I didn't mean to hurt anyone. Judge Caprio sets down his pen. Ms. Hartley, you drove drunk at 3 times the legal limit with cocaine in your system. You ran a red light at 50 miles per hour. You seriously injured a 68-year-old Vietnam veteran driving home from volunteering at a veterans shelter. Your first concern was your car and your next party. Madison shifts. I was in shock. And it was New Year's Eve. Everyone was celebrating. Being in shock doesn't explain laughing and drinking champagne while the man you injured was trapped. Being in shock doesn't explain. Threatening officers. New Year's Eve doesn't excuse any of it. Judge Caprio asks if she's contacted Robert to apologize. Dane admits she hasn't on legal advice. So, in 3 days, your client hasn't shown basic decency to ask if the veteran she nearly killed is okay because you advised it might hurt her legal position. Judge Caprio plays body camera footage. Madison's slurred voice fills the courtroom. I'm fine. It's New Year's Eve. Everyone drinks. Is my car okay? The gallery reacts with disgust. Robert Sullivan sits with visible bruising and his arm in a sling. The footage shows Madison laughing, drinking champagne, saying, "Live a little, officer," while paramedics extract Robert. Then her threat. Do you know who my father is? He's Senator Richard Hartley. He oversees your funding. Let me go. Officer Chen testifies. Did she ever ask about Mr. Sullivan? Not once, Your Honor. Only her car, her next party, and threatening us with her father's position. Robert Sullivan takes the stand. He describes volunteering at the veterans shelter, serving dinner to homeless veterans on New Year's Eve for 15 years, then impact. I don't remember much after, just pain and being trapped. I heard a woman laughing. I thought I was imagining it, but she was actually laughing while I was trapped, unable to move. Robert's voice breaks. Your Honor, I'm 68. I served in Vietnam. I was driving home from serving others when this young woman, drunk and high, destroyed my car. 3 broken ribs. I can barely breathe. My car is gone, and I can't afford another. And she never asked if I was okay. Judge Caprio asks Madison if she has anything to say to Robert. Her attorney advises her not to speak. She remains silent. And that's when Madison pulls out her cell phone and starts typing. Judge Caprio's voice cuts through. Ms. Hartley, what are you doing? I'm texting my father. He needs to know what's happening. This has gone on long enough. You're texting your father during court proceedings? Hand me that phone. Bailiff. The bailiff retrieves it. Judge Caprio reads aloud. Dad, this judge is insane. He's acting like I committed murder. It was just a New Year's accident. Everyone drinks on New Year's. Can you call someone? This needs to stop now. The courtroom is stunned. Ms. Hartley, you just tried to text a United States Senator to intervene in judicial proceedings. You called this just a New Year's accident, as if the calendar excuses nearly killing a veteran. Ms. Hartley, you want your father involved? Let's get him involved. Clerk, contact Senator Hartley immediately. We're having this conversation right now on the record. Madison's face goes pale. Your Honor, that's not necessary. You were asking a senator to interfere with justice. Let's hear what he has to say. Within minutes, the clerk has Senator Richard Hartley on the line. Judge Caprio puts the call on speakerphone. The entire courtroom can hear. Senator Hartley, this is Judge Frank Caprio in Providence Municipal Court. Your daughter Madison is here for a hearing regarding DUI charges from New Year's Eve. She just attempted to text you during court proceedings, asking you to intervene because, and I quote, it was just a New Year's accident and everyone drinks on New Year's. There's a long pause. When Senator Hartley speaks, his voice is heavy with emotion and unmistakable disappointment. Your Honor, I apologize that my daughter contacted me during court. She should not have done that. Judge Caprio continues. Senator, I want to make sure you understand the full situation. Your daughter drove drunk at 3 times the legal limit with cocaine in her system. She ran a red light at 50 miles per hour. She crashed into a 68-year-old Vietnam veteran's car and seriously injured him. When police arrived, she was drinking champagne and laughing. She threatened officers with your Senate position multiple times. She showed no concern for the veteran she injured, and her defense is that it was New Year's Eve, so the rules don't apply. The silence that follows lasts at least 15 seconds. Senator Hartley's voice, when it returns, has changed completely. Your Honor, I need to be very clear about something. I am not calling to request leniency. I am not asking for special treatment. I am not intervening in any way. Madison interrupts. Dad, tell him this is crazy. It was New Year's Eve. Everyone drinks. Senator Hartley's response silences her. Madison, be quiet. For once in your privileged life, be quiet and listen to someone other than yourself. The courtroom is absolutely silent. Senator Hartley continues. Your Honor, I've spent 12 years in the United States Senate. I've fought for veterans' benefits, for VA funding, for proper care for those who served our country. I sit on committees that determine support for the men and women who sacrificed for our freedom. And my daughter drove drunk and nearly killed a Vietnam veteran, then threatened police officers with my name and position. Judge Caprio asks the critical question. Senator, are you asking this court to show leniency to your daughter because of your position? Senator Hartley's answer shocks everyone. Absolutely not, Your Honor. I'm asking you to treat her exactly as you would any other defendant who did what she did. Actually, I'm asking you to consider treating her more harshly because she should know better. She grew up in a household that honored veterans. She's heard me talk about military sacrifice her entire life. And she nearly killed a 68-year-old Vietnam veteran and laughed about it because it was New Year's Eve. Madison starts crying. Dad, you're supposed to help me. I'm your daughter. Senator Hartley's voice becomes firm. You're my daughter, Madison, and that's exactly why I'm doing this. Your mother and I have enabled your entitled behavior for 23 years. We've gotten you out of trouble. We've made phone calls. We've paid for lawyers. And we've created someone who thinks her last name makes her above consequences. That ends today. Judge Caprio asks if the senator would like to address Robert Sullivan, who's present in court. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Sullivan is the veteran in the courtroom? He is, Senator. Mr. Sullivan, my name is Richard Hartley. I'm the father of the young woman who nearly killed you on New Year's Eve. I want to tell you something that I should have taught her better. Your service matters. Your sacrifice matters. What you've done for 15 years, volunteering to serve homeless veterans every New Year's Eve, that matters more than any Senate seat I'll ever hold. My daughter destroyed your car and injured you while you were driving home from serving others. That is unconscionable. I am ashamed, and I promise you, she will face full accountability. Robert Sullivan, visibly moved, responds, Senator, I appreciate your words. Your Honor, may I say something? Of course, Mr. Sullivan. Senator Hartley, you don't need to apologize for your daughter's choices. She's an adult, but I appreciate that you understand what veterans go through and what we sacrifice. I hope your daughter learns from this. Senator Hartley's voice is thick with emotion. Mr. Sullivan, thank you for your service. Thank you for your continued service to homeless veterans. And I'm sorry my daughter treated you like you didn't matter, Judge Caprio continues. Senator, is there anything else you'd like to say? Yes, Your Honor. Whatever sentence you determine is appropriate, I fully support it. If jail time is warranted, so be it. If significant fines and community service are appropriate, I agree. My daughter needs to learn that being a senator's daughter doesn't grant immunity from consequences, especially when you endanger someone who served our country. And one more thing, Your Honor. I'm sending a formal apology to the Providence Police Department for my daughter's threats against their officers. Those officers were doing their jobs, and using my name to threaten them is despicable. The call ends. Madison sits at the defendant's table, crying and utterly exposed. Her expected rescue has become public condemnation from her own father. Judge Caprio's voice is firm and authoritative. Ms. Hartley, your father, the United States Senator whose position you threatened officers with repeatedly, just told this court to treat you like any other defendant. Actually, he suggested harsher treatment because you should know better. Let's do exactly that. The sentence Judge Caprio delivers is severe and comprehensive. For driving under the influence causing serious bodily injury with cocaine in her system, $15,000 fine, 2-year license suspension, mandatory intensive substance abuse treatment, and 60 days in county jail. For reckless driving at 50 in a 30 zone, additional $5,000 fine. For running a red light, additional $1,000 fine. For leaving the scene, additional $3,000 fine. For resisting arrest, additional $1,000 fine. For threatening law enforcement officers with her father's position, additional $5,000 fine. For contempt of court for attempting to text her father during proceedings, additional $3,000 fine. Total monetary penalties, $33,000. But Judge Caprio isn't finished. He orders Madison to pay full restitution to Robert Sullivan for his totaled vehicle. The Camry's value is assessed at $8,500. He orders her to pay Robert's medical expenses not covered by insurance, currently $4,200. He orders 400 hours of community service, specifically at veterans' shelters and VA hospitals, serving the veterans she endangered. He orders her to write formal letters of apology to Robert Sullivan, to Officer Chen, to Sergeant Walsh, to every officer she threatened, and to her father for abusing his Senate position. And significantly, Judge Caprio orders Madison to attend and speak at 3 different high schools and colleges about drunk driving, telling students exactly what she did on New Year's Eve and exactly what it cost her. Total financial impact, $45,700. 60 days in jail starting immediately. 400 hours of service to veterans, 2 years without a license. A permanent criminal record. Madison's attorney objects strenuously. Your Honor, 60 days in jail for a first offense is excessive. My client is a college graduate with career prospects. Judge Caprio's response is devastating. Mr. Dane, your client drove drunk and high at 3 times the legal limit. She nearly killed a 68-year-old Vietnam veteran who was driving home from volunteering to serve homeless veterans on New Year's Eve. She laughed about it. She threatened officers 15 times with her father's Senate position. She called it just a New Year's accident, and she tried to text her father to make it all go away during court proceedings. 60 days is not excessive. It's merciful. This sentence stands. As Madison is taken into custody, she stops and looks at Robert. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Mr. Sullivan. Robert responds. Young lady, I hope you learn from this. I hope you learn that veterans aren't props for your father's political career. We're human beings who served and sacrificed. We deserve respect, not to be hit by drunk senators' daughters who think New Year's Eve makes them invincible. Officer Chen stands. Your Honor, I've been an officer for 8 years. I've never had someone threaten me with their parents' Senate position while a veteran was trapped in a crushed vehicle. What you did today matters to every officer. Thank you. Within hours, the audio goes viral. Senator Hartley holds a press conference, increases Veterans Services legislation support, apologizes to Providence PD, establishes a scholarship in Robert's name, and personally replaces Robert's vehicle. Madison begins 60 days in jail. Week 1, angry. Week 4, genuinely engaging in substance abuse counseling. At 6 weeks, she writes genuine apologies. Released, she begins 400 hours at the VA hospital. She meets veterans with missing limbs, PTSD, traumatic brain injuries. At 3 months, she speaks at a college. A student asks if she regrets driving drunk on New Year's. I regret everything. I regret laughing while Mr. Sullivan was trapped. I regret treating him like he didn't matter. New Year's Eve doesn't excuse any of it. At 6 months, she meets Robert at the veterans shelter. Mr. Sullivan, I drove drunk and high on New Year's Eve. I crashed into your car. I seriously injured you. I laughed while you were trapped. I threatened officers. I called it just a New Year's accident. I was wrong. I'm sorry. Robert accepts her apology. Madison, I didn't serve so senators' daughters could nearly kill veterans while threatening cops. I served so everyone could be equal under the law. Your father understood. Judge Caprio understood. Now you need to understand it too. 1 year later, Madison has been sober 12 months, continues volunteering at the VA beyond mandated hours, works as a Veterans Services advocate. Senator Hartley continues his Senate work with renewed focus on veterans. When asked if he regrets his decision, he answers, I don't regret holding my daughter accountable. I regret it took nearly killing a veteran for her to learn her last name doesn't make her special. The veterans are special. They sacrificed. Don't forget to subscribe for more courtroom moments where political power meets accountability. Hit that like button if you believe New Year's Eve doesn't excuse endangering veterans. Madison Hartley walked into court thinking New Year's Eve excused everything. She thought her father's Senate seat made her untouchable. She texted him expecting rescue. Instead, she heard him tell Judge Caprio to treat her harshly. She heard him apologize to the veteran she nearly killed. She heard him choose honor over protecting his entitled daughter. And that text became the moment that taught her the most important lesson of her life. That's justice. That's integrity. That's the legacy of Judge Frank Caprio and Senator Richard Hartley.